Now is the time to purchase a gift certificate for your significant other to make sure you're the big winner this Valentine's Day. Go to thebodyshoplincoln.com and select from their variety of specific massages. Once you've purchased, you can either print out the certificate or email it to the lucky recipient. Do Valentine's Day right this year with a massage from The Body Shop at 48th and A.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Omaha Supernovas postgame show brought to you by Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Welcome in to the Next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show here on the Supernovas Radio Network. I am Rico, joined by the coach, Renee Saunders. Renee, what a heck of a match as the Supernovas get their second win of the season, advance to 2-2, and hand the Grand Rapids Rise their first loss.
Oh my God. That was like, I wish I could have got on between sets 2 and 3. Like, I was going crazy. I had basketball here tonight and I had my laptop out in the bleachers, and luckily our girls played really well tonight and they had a big lead. So I got to watch. I almost watched every single point and I had the whole section watching with me. That was exciting. Definitely, like, I think this is almost like a turning point in their season where I think they figured out what it feels like to play hard, to play for each other, and have good things happen. Like, that was phenomenal. That rally at the end of the second set, I timed it. It was a minute long. I thought it was going to be a minute and a half. That was forever.
It was ridiculously long, especially from all the way up here. We're just watching bodies hit the floor, bodies going all over the place, a lot of superwoman poses as people are diving through the air to get those balls. And look, you got extra volleyball today. I mean, you had two of these sets go into the 30s. Free volleyball. I love free volleyball. Like, that's what the games like sets 2 and sets 3 are like what makes volleyball so awesome. It's the execution on both sides. Like, Rise, get a side out, execute. Novas, execute, get a side out, and that back and forth. But it comes down to who can hold the serve for that one extra point. And the Novas did it, and they did it really well. I'm so darn proud of them. That was awesome. How massive. It was Hristina Vuchkova's first match with the Omaha Supernovas. She got into town that last, I believe it was Sunday, their last match. She flew into town Wednesday. Yeah, she flew into town and she was, sitting on the sideline watching them play. But she's had a couple of practices with the team. But how massive was her impact tonight at the net? One of the best blockers in the world, and just her presence seemed like a calming presence for Omaha. Her, Jess, and Tori all really made a difference at the net. They had 3 blocks, but Vuchkova really did a good job of changing the game. Like, people going around her because they know she's a good blocker. So it changes a little bit about how you attack at her. She had 8 kills, 3 blocks, but she made an impact at the net because people were trying to go around her. And I felt like the first set we didn't adjust very well to that.
Second set, midway through, we made a couple adjustments, and all of a sudden we were doing a great job of getting where we could see our hitters. Once we were where we could see our hitters, then we were digging lots of balls. And it was almost like they made a decision that they were not going to lose. It was like that refuse to lose. We are going to do everything we can in our power. We are not going to let this one slip away. That was phenomenal. Did you guys get oxygen up there? Anybody?
We needed it. So DP went down to do a stand-up interview with Bird, and really he just needed to get away from the open air heights that we have here, because look, it's a long ways down, and there's absolutely nothing in between us and this. There's just a small wall right here and a little bit of a table, but it was an interesting game to call from all the way up here, but it was fun because you could see every little thing that was going on the court, and you could see everybody, making those defensive adjustments, the small movements by players during plays. It was quite interesting and something that I can't say that I've seen before.
Yeah, I actually, the view you're at, it might be a little exaggerated, but you can see a lot of the holes and gaps in how the team moves better than if you're at floor level. Floor level, you can feel the physicality of the match because the block and the sounds and the moves that the players are making. But when you're up high and you're seeing actually how it works within space, volleyball is a pretty cool game.
It's so fun to watch from all the way up here, and just watching a player like Naughty and how she covers so much ground. And you mentioned before, and it's something that I mentioned during the match, something she loves to do, something she's really proficient at, is setting the middles regardless of where she's at. And she had a couple of instances where she's running to the end line on the court, and she somehow gets the ball into the middle. And that was something that Omaha did a great job of in that one. And that then opened up the outsides for players like Jess Shaben-Landsman and Brooke Nuneviller, who made her return after rolling her ankle.
Yeah, Naughty impacts games in so many ways. Number one, she's a little fireball. I love her passion and how hard she plays the game. Her defense, I think she had 18 digs, 50 assists. So they couldn't get balls down and right back. Jess and her were both digging a lot of balls really well. So the Rise were having to go with different options. So then they tried to go cross court, cut inside the block. Kendall a couple times got caught behind the block. They got kills. But when Kendall stayed inside that middle blocker, she did a great job digging hard cross court balls. And the block did a great job of taking away the seams. I mean, it was a great job by the players executing, right? Naughty on set, getting all her hitters going, forcing the middle at times, but knowing when she needed to set her pins. But then the defense behind her, she really could do whatever she wanted. They weren't out of system a whole lot. And when they were out of system, I never felt like they were out of system because Naughty was always getting hands on balls. It wasn't like she was bump setting high balls to the pin. She was finding a way to get her hands on the ball and still push a tempo, which I thought was, she set a great match.
We're actually going to pause 10 seconds really fast for a legal ID.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Something that I'm sure that the listener base was tired of me saying was the physicality at the net was there, and that it was impacting a lot of the plays for either side. You were mentioning, hitting cross court and just trying to avoid the block a couple of times, trying to hit into the block, trying to hit high hands, and you end up sending the ball deep. But how much was the block affecting both sides today for the Rise and the Supernovas?
I think a lot. I mean, you look at the kill efficiency for the Novas was 33%. So they killed 1 out of every 3 balls, which is pretty good. The Rise killed the same 35%, about 1 out of every 3 balls. But the Rise hit 200 and the Novas hit 200. So nobody hit a dazzling 400 or 350. It's kind of like a batting average, we're talking volleyball hitting percentages is kind of like a batting average. So if you're hitting 300, you're doing pretty good. Both teams hit 200, which tells us that the block did its job and the defense did its job, and the teams had to find other ways to win.
And those other ways to win probably came on those serves, as both teams had their share of service aces, but service errors reigned supreme in this one. Can you tell me, when you're coaching, and I don't know if you've had this many service errors happen to your team in a game, but what do you do when your team has all of this momentum, like it's happened with the Supernovas today multiple times, where they're going on a run and they're feeling themselves, and then all of a sudden you hit a ball into the net? How deflating is that?
It is a momentum killer. So we always tell our servers, like after a long rally, after a timeout, like take an extra breath, like compose yourself before you hit that ball into play. It looks like the Rise had 11 errors and 3 aces. And it looks like the Novas had 12 errors, but they had 10 aces. So when you're looking, you keep that ratio at almost like a 1-to-1. To me, you're maintaining being aggressive and it's almost worth it. But when you're, 3-to-1, error to ace, then maybe you got to take a little bit off, be a little bit smarter. The Supernovas won the serve and pass game, and we're kind of even in the other stats, but I think that their ability to make great plays at important times and really play aggressive at the end of the game and fight back in the middle of the game when they were down was huge for them today. But I think the serve and pass game, which I think they've been pretty good at the entire season, it finally, something clicked in their head on how to like turn it up at the end. And I think that was the most fun to watch.
Now, I don't know if it was just me. I don't know how many other people noticed it, but Danielle Hart starts the game, plays the first 3 sets. Tori Dixon comes in for Danielle. Kristina Vuchkova still at middle for all 4 sets, but Tori Dixon comes in for that 4th set, and it seemed like whatever was going on with her, when she started that 4th set, just kind of energized the team because she was getting blocks, they were setting her up, she was getting a ton of kills, and just the energy that she brought off the bench with her just seemed like a big momentum changer.
Yeah, she brought fresh legs. You're playing a 33-31 set, a 30-28 set. You're getting tired out there. And the middles move a lot and they jump a lot. Every time they move a direction, they're jumping. So their jumps are twice as much as the pins, just because of blocking alone. But like Tori comes out for Danielle, gives kind of fresh legs, but she gives a different look because she's a different type of player. She has 4 kills on 6 attempts. She gets 3 blocks in the time that she's in. She came in the 5th as a sub, or the 3rd as a sub, and then she played the whole 4th set. But those are really good numbers for the amount of time that she was on the court.
Now, Grand Rapids, I don't want to leave them out of this. Obviously, they were on the other side of the net, losing in 4 sets to the Omaha Supernovas. But they had a pretty balanced attack as they had 3 players in double digits with kills. Claire Chaussee finishes with 19. Amelia Dimitrova finishes with 16. Simone Abbott with 15. Simone started the match hot. It seemed like they were going to her every single time. Dimitrova, not hit or miss. I don't know exactly the word that I'm looking for, but she, in spurts, was just one of the best players, if not the best player on the court for short spurts during the entire match. And I was saying how her energy, the energy she was bringing, whether it was a big block or a big kill, she gets hyped. She's yelling at her team. She's high-fiving. She's high-fiving pretty hard. I'm getting scared she was going to hurt one of her teammates' hands. But those 3 just coming out swinging for Grand Rapids. Which one of those were you looking for? I was looking at Claire Chaussee to have a big one, and she's been having a good start to the season so far. But which one of those 3 were you looking at as a problem that Omaha would have to take care of?
Well, I think they're kind of like the 3-headed dragon. Claire Chaussee is a phenomenal player all the way around, I think, but she's always going to give you double-digit kills. Like Chaussee is going to find a way to find the floor. You have Simone Abbott, who I thought played another great game. She's put 2 pretty decent games back to back together. And then I think the X factor is Dimitrova. I really do. Though she had 16 kills, I felt like she was the one that the block affected the most. At the beginning of the game, she was able to hit down the line and terminate. We adjusted a little bit, blocked her a couple times. Then she had to hit around our big middle, and she started hitting high and long. She had a couple cuts inside, which she did really well. But I think that overall, we made so many great in-game adjustments on our defense and things that we were doing that I thought that the Rise had a hard time countering our attacks. So, we did all those things. We dictated tempo. We made their hitters adjust. Their hitters still got theirs. Like they still got theirs.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, we were able to force them into errors when we needed them to.
I know that UNDP talked about runs earlier in the pregame show, and that Grand Rapids, their hitters got theirs, but the ability to go on a run and then stop a run from Grand Rapids was really what helped Omaha stay in this match and end up winning this match. As the second and third sets go into 30-plus points, Omaha had a lead, a pretty sizable lead. Well, not a sizable lead, but had a lead in that third set that they let Grand Rapids go on a run and kind of eat them up. But what did you see? You were just talking about in-game adjustments. What did you see from Omaha's side during that third set to make an adjustment and end up taking that one?
Third set, I thought they went to a fast start, and then they went on a run. And what I wanted to keep track of, and I couldn't because I was multitasking.
You were busy. Yeah,
I was multitasking. It was a little one-dimensional multitasking. Is I don't know if the Rise ever had more than a 3-point run. Did they ever score more than like a side out and hold serve for 2?
Let me check that in the third set. Let me see how long it's going to take me to get that. So give me a second.
Okay, while you're doing that, I think some of the adjustments that they made were just, I mean, I felt like our passing was good, but getting the hitters in one-on-one situations. I think Nadi did a really good job of getting her hitters into a situation where they had the advantage, where there was maybe one block or a split in the block or a late middle or reaching hands or a pin that didn't get where they're supposed to go. I thought she did a great job of eyeing the defense on the other side and making the decision that was opposite of where they were going. So I think her set decisions really led to a lot of that. And I think I want to say, we hit 200, which isn't like phenomenal. But we were aggressive. We were aggressive and trying to earn our points versus playing it safe. And I think that aggressiveness, there's going to be times where you might miss, but for the most part, being aggressive is going to get you the dub in games like this.
They went on 2 5-point runs and 1 3-point run. Other than that, it was 1 or 2
in the whole match. In the
whole third set, at least. But I know in the third set, they had 2 5-point runs, and that's what kept them in it for as long as it did. But other than that, there was 1 run of 3 and 1 run of 2. But it was just going back. Omaha would go on a run, they'd get a point to stop the run. And then those 2 5-point runs really kept them going in the third set, at least.
Sometimes if you can get a run, it kind of washes out the other team's run, right? Like, I mean, if somebody's get a 5-point run and you can turn around and get a 5-point run right back, then it's kind of a wash. Okay, we're going to pretend like that never happened. And then it's a matter of, maybe they have a 5-point and then we get a 2-point and then they're one and done. And then we get a 3-point and that kind of washes as well. So you just don't want it to be one like what we have with Vegas, like 7 in a row. And then we can't even hold for 1. Like if you're going to give some away, you've got to find a way to take some back. And I felt like they did that. I thought their serving game was solid. I liked how they stayed aggressive, missed some balls. Paige Briggs, holy buckets coming in. She was
in the clutch.
Yeah. 2 times she came in and started off with aces. And that was fantastic because that's just enough to make the other side think oh crap. Oh, we gotta
tighten it up real quick. Another person I was very impressed with on the Omaha Supernovas side, and you mentioned her name earlier, Jess Shaban-Lansman. I was calling her the run stopper. Grand Rapids would go on a run, and all of a sudden Natalia's like, okay, you know what? Let's finish this real quick. It's just setting it out to Jess on the outside. How impressive was her match today?
Third set, she had 7 kills on 14 swings. She was I'm not going to be denied. Don't even try. She was getting kills on the outside. She was getting kills in the middle. Then you go to the fourth set. She was a little more human. She had 3 kills on 10 swings, not quite the same percentage, but you had Tori Dixon getting 4 kills on 6 swings at 67%. I mean, that's just phenomenal. The way I like this team because we're deep, number 1. We're versatile, number 2. There were a couple times where Betty was on the right side and Jess was on the left side. And it was seamless. It never really got us to where we were oh no, we're on our weak pins. We found a way to stay aggressive and stay in the match.
You mentioned the depth of this team and having and the depth of the team and then the net play. I noticed Grand Rapids, whenever Nadi was up in the front, they would try to target her. But she was coming up big, getting her hands on some blocks. But something that I know that you love to mention, or you have in the last 3 matches that we've done, is make sure you know the setters in the front row. Make sure you know when they're in the front row, and she took advantage of a couple of those.
Yeah, she did. I mean, she's played a lot of volleyball at a really high level. She was on the Puerto Rican national team. She's been in the Olympics. This kid knows she's experienced. I think the difference in today's lineup, Bird making those changes, as we had the most experienced players on the court at the end of the match. Beginning of the match, we also were more experienced than normal. Nadi has a lot of experience. Tori has a lot of experience. Christina has a lot of experience. Brooke doesn't have a ton of experience, but she has really high level experience. Jess doesn't have a ton of professional experience, but she's got a lot of really high level college experience. So I think we had that good balance of younger kids and experienced kids that kind of kept everybody focused and going in the right direction. Our depth helped. Like, I think having those three middles and being able to like give them a break when they need one is a good thing. Like Danny had Tori ACL back in college, and once you do that, like your knee's not the same. And so for her to get breaks, and have Tori come in with fresh legs, and maybe some games it's opposite. Maybe Tori plays and then Danny comes in and gives her a break, and maybe there's a day where Christina is out and one of them give her a break, or she's off or whatever. Like the ability to move people around is definitely a positive for this group.
Keeping it on the middles, what makes, and I was talking with, we went out and watched the Super Bowl last night, me and some of the other guys. The girls obviously did not. They were in their rooms. They were sleeping. But we went out and we were talking about, watching the Super Bowl, talking about this team, and Christina, I don't know how many people noticed. If you were listening to us, you probably didn't watch it, so you don't notice. But Christina, every single one of her fingers has tape on it.
Yep.
And I want to ask you, why would somebody do something like that?
I don't know for sure. I'll give you some old wives' tales. How's that?
Okay, hey, that works.
Some urban legends about the tape. So I honestly thought for a while that people taped them to keep them from getting jammed and broke and everything else. Because if you look close, she has kind of like the wraparound tape job, which kind of holds your joints in place. But then my other one is that I think with the camera system, with the ball color and the white, makes it less likely to see a touch.
Oh.
Now, that's just a myth. That's totally just me just speaking out of both sides of my mouth right now. I don't really know for sure.
I'm going to believe it.
But I think that, taping your hands has benefits safety-wise. If you're touching a lot of balls and you're above the net, I mean, if you saw my pinkies, you would probably say I should have taped my fingers up a little bit. But my ET hands, I've had one or two jam fingers blocking balls. But I would say the taping probably helps keep them in the right spot. And sometimes as a hitter, having that feeling there reminds you to like make that hand firm or to press. It's like a reminder, right? The tape's there to remind you to make sure that you're big and you're strong when you're blocking and when you're hitting. But then, of course, I was trying to look at when they did the little video review. I was trying to look and see if it made it harder to see with those cameras, and it doesn't work as well with those cameras. But the cameras they use for like Big Ten or like NCAA that are like not as clear. Yeah, I think the white tape might help with
$1,000 or however much they paid for them.
Watch every college having their fingers taped next year.
Exactly. They're like, oh, let me do that real quick. Let me figure this out real fast. It was quite tense down on the court between both of the teams. The UP official called the captains over to her multiple times in this one, which is more than I've seen in the first three matches for the Omaha Supernovas. And the challenges took a little bit longer than normal. I don't know if they were, looking for the wrong. There were a couple of times where they're looking for a block touch, and it's clearly not there. And then they switched to a net violation, which it was there a couple of times. But the cameras doing their jobs, getting some of these getting all of the challenges right. But it was a little tense down there. I know that you talked about it before, how a lot of these girls know each other and they're pretty friendly, but it was, and maybe it's just the competition. It's just, undefeated versus a team that's 1-2 and really think that they could have been 3-0. But it was tense.
I couldn't tell. I mean, I could tell a little bit by demeanor that it was maybe a little bit chippy. I like to use, it looked like Coach George was getting pretty upset. She pulled her setter, pulled the middle, made some changes on her side of the net. But she was getting frustrated. I felt like Bird kept her composure pretty well throughout the match. Like I didn't feel like she was ever too up or too down, which is a good thing. When you're in a close match, you probably don't want to be overly emotional, but you want to play with emotion. But the reviews were weird. And so I think when, if I remember right, they on the iPad, they hit the challenge and then they have like 5 seconds to hit what they want to challenge. So I'm wondering if they have to hit something, but it's not what they want to challenge. So then the review people see, oh, that's what you're challenging. Like, no, I actually wanted to challenge this, so I'm wondering that part. But like that just Shaban ball on the right side that got blocked and then hit the tape and then kind of trickled down on her side. That one took a little while and that was weird. And then there was one early in that set too that was really weird. But I think those are all things like, I mean, they're playing here for something, right? At the end of this season, somebody is going to walk away with, I believe, $1 million. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, these matches matter. And then when you're talking about, like, the Supernovas are going to be the team to beat no matter what. We have a very talented team. We maybe haven't won all our matches, but we're still going to be the team that everybody wants to beat because guess what? You're from Omaha, Nebraska. You have the best fans. You have great players. You have great resources. You have a great coaching staff. And no matter what your record is now, people thought you were the best team before any game started. So they're going to have to find ways to win with their backs against the wall. And I think today was their first test and maybe like turning point in the season of who they really can become.
We're going to take a quick break right here. And when we come back to the Supernovas Radio Network, we're going to preview a little bit of the rematch with Las Vegas. Down in Vegas. You're listening to the Supernovas Radio Network Next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Hello, everybody. It's Charlie Stone, and here with me is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I hear that new Honda manufacturing continues to go up, and you have new Hondas in stock now.
That's correct, Charlie. We have more than 40 new Hondas in stock right now. It's great that a customer can come in and buy a new Honda and drive it home that day. New Honda inventory keeps getting better each month.
Okay, then. How about used cars, Andy?
We have more than 100 pre-owned vehicles to choose from right now, and a lot of fresh trade-ins are coming in daily. We have just about every maker model you can imagine in any price range.
Thanks again, Andy. People love the selection and great service at Honda of Lincoln. Maybe it's time you come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day. They encourage those who go out to make smart decisions behind the wheel or plan accordingly to have someone lined up for a safe ride home. This important message comes to you from Bart and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialist here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
Omaha Supernovas postgame show brought to you by Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Welcome back to the Next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show as the Omaha Supernovas take care of business, coming up to Grand Rapids and beating the previously undefeated Rise. 3-1, 2 sets with extra volleyball going into the 30s. Fantastic volleyball all around. Now, Omaha gets to have a good night's rest, and then tomorrow we'll all be headed down to Las Vegas as they look to get a rematch, possibly a win against the Vegas Thrill on Thursday. Renee, you were in attendance. for the first match between Omaha and Vegas on the color commentary. What has Omaha changed aside from, the starting rotation that might help them against Vegas?
I will go back to that minute-long rally at the end of the second set. Like, I really think that's going to be a turning point for their season. I think that that's where they learned that they could dig deep, give a little bit more, and just work a little bit harder. Like, defense is kind of a mindset. It's kind of an attitude, right? Like, if I decide that I'm not going to let a ball hit, then I'm not going to let a ball hit. I'm going to lay for it. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to read it. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that there's not a ball hitting in my area. And I'm going to make sure that my teammates are doing the same thing. And I feel like at that last rally, laying out for balls, making great plays, they were not making those against Vegas. Mm-hmm. They were short rallies. We dug deep and we found this extra gear and we touched it, right? Like, I don't know if we're going to hit that gear. You can't play a whole match in that gear, but you need to play a whole match with that mindset. And I think if they can find that mindset against Vegas on Thursday, then I think they can get the win. It's hard. They have tonight, they have Thursday in Vegas, they have Sunday in Omaha, and then they have Wednesday in Columbus. Mm-hmm. So they've got 4 matches in no time at all. I mean, 10 days. So I think legs, and if I'm their coach, I'm telling them to go put some ice cubes in their bathtub and go ice bath those legs so that they're recovered, because that's a lot of matches, especially for like a Brooke who's jumping a lot, a Jess who's jumping a lot and swinging a lot. Like, it's really going to come down to how well can they take care of their body on this next span of games. But if they can find that gear of like absolutely being relentless, then I think Vegas is going to be like, who is this team?
Just a completely different team from the first one, from the team that they played not even maybe a week ago. Speaking of, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I was looking at the standings. Did you know Columbus has only played 1 match?
Yeah, they played these guys. They played the Rise early in the season.
It was the second match of the season. It was Grand Rapids and Columbus. Columbus ended up losing. I think they got swept. That's the only match they played.
Yeah, and I don't know when their next one is.
I could look that up before I said that.
But I think if I remember right, I believe they were pretty banged up. Like, they'd had 3 starters. Like, Asia O'Neal didn't play. They had a couple people that weren't playing. So this break might have been good for them. But it looks like their next match is at Orlando on February 16th. So they went from January 25th to February 16th.
That is a massive break for Columbus to, like you said, injuries to get right. But again, Omaha going to be visiting Vegas for a Thursday match. We'll be leaving tomorrow to head down to Vegas. Renee will be joining us down there. I believe Bird is on her way up here to do post game, but we'll see. It's a long way up. You got to take an elevator. You got to walk up some stairs. It's a pretty interesting. You would have loved it. It's fantastic. You get a good workout in.
I'm jealous, but I'm telling you, you might be the good luck charm doing the color.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You are. I was doing my best to emulate you, and I don't know if I did that good of a job.
You used the word masterful.
I did.
That was beautiful. Beautiful.
Sometimes, hey, I know words.
That was. Showing off your vocabulary. I'm gonna have to dig deep for a couple good words for Vegas. No, I watching this team play every game, there's certain things like as a coach I'm looking at and I'm like, are they going to make that adjustment? Are we going to decide who wants to be that leader? Like, are we going to do certain things? And there were glimpses of this match where I saw people step up that we need to step up in different ways, and I saw leadership and I saw poise and I saw that relentless pursuit of like, hey, we're not going to be denied this time. Like, let's take care of this. And maybe this team's going to be a road warriors. I mean, they were away from home and did what they did. That was phenomenal. It was pretty exciting.
That second set, Omaha drops the first set. That second set goes into the 30s, and that as it was going into the 30s, me and DP are looking at each other, and we're not saying it, but we're just thinking like they need to win this set. If they go down 2-0 on the road to this Columbus or to this Grand Rapids team, that's a dangerous place to be in. If you showed that you had the tenacity to come back from down 2-0 and force a 5th set, but that was at home, and that was the first match of the season where teams didn't really know each other all that well. This is, they're 2 games in, you're 3 games in. You guys know each other well enough with the film that you've been watching, and you're on the road. If you go down 2-0, you're in for a world of hurt potentially. And they fought back, like you said, dug deep, found that extra gear, and were able to fight back and win that second set.
Yeah, that was if I could go back and just like rewatch set 2 and 3, I would. But I mean, it's later there than it is here, but it's gonna be past my bedtime pretty soon. But they watching them evolve has been fun. Seeing if they can do it again in Vegas is going to be the key, because it's doing it once. It's doing it once. And, we were in the state semis a couple years ago, and we were playing Norris, and it was 4 set. And for us, we had to win to close it out. And it was a game just like that, just long rallies, people diving all over the floor. And we got the 33-31 win. And the amount of confidence that gives your team when you can get a win after you're down, come back, fight off set points, and then find a way to finish at 33, which is a pretty awesome number. That's got to give them confidence then going into set 3, and then to do it again in set 3, they had all the confidence in the world for that 4th set. All they had to do was stick to what they were doing, execute, stay together, not become complacent, and finish out the match. Now the thing is can this confidence carry into Las Vegas? And I honestly, I think it will.
It's a couple days off in between, but it seems as if they might be able to do that with how they played, how they were able to keep it going after the end of the second set, carry it over to the 4th. They got up by 7, let Grand Rapids fight back, but then, like you said, they kept it going, stepped down, and took care of business. Well, look who's
there's
here.
the star. That is the star right there.
Hey, superstar.
I'm lost for a second there.
Yeah, I was telling Coach that it's a fun way to get up here.
I was like, is this place still part of the arena? Where am
Welcome.
I going?
This is where we saw you guys. Look at this. This is our view.
You had
don't lean over the edge. Don't do it.
I don't mind it up here, mostly because I love just when people can't see me. But this is
Dude, Bird, that was awesome.
So we're not live, not a hot mic.
We are live.
Oh, hey,
we're live on the stream. We're live on the radio.
Good.
That was awesome.
I'm so proud of them. Like the character, the gut punches. Renee, you have to appreciate fighting off those set points.
You should. You should have heard me. Like, ask Rico. I was like, I feel like I'm not gonna be able to sleep again tonight. That was so awesome.
Yes, I mean, they fought. Some of those rallies, the end of that second set.
Oh,
it was like a minute 10 maybe.
Insane.
My heart was going to leap out of my chest.
We went back and watched it. Well, I was supervising a basketball game, and my AD was doing the main supervision, and I was like in the middle in the stands, and like my whole section was watching. And then I had to come down here because I was going to get on between sets, which I really wanted to get on because I think that rally is a turning point in your season. Like they found a way to like fight for each other and like dig a little deeper and decide that, no, we're not going to let this happen. And I think that if you can build on it, which I think you did in the 3rd set, and then can carry it, to Vegas with you with that same like grit and demeanor and relentless pursuit that they had. I mean, the sky's the limit for this team, but I think they had to go through that, like what it takes to win. Yes. And they had just scratched the surface. They hadn't really dug in and like really laid it all on the line. And I felt that they did in that one rally. And I don't know, I think that's going to be one of those moments you look back to and be like, that was our turning point.
Oh, I agree with you completely. And it's funny because I always love going on the road with teams. I really do. And I know we had new pieces on the court tonight, but it's the whole team. I mean, they've been practicing that way and we've had moments in practice, but to do that in a match and to like kind of show your cards like that and just be all in with a group. Yes, it was the people that were on the court, but that comes from every person that trains and the way that they have trained, even just this past week in the gym. So it's a testament to the character. I mean, that is what those are gut moments when it's like, this is how I'm going to play. This is how I'm going to compete. And they we talked about competitive chemistry and they did it. So yeah, I'm just proud of them. I'm proud of that fight. And it was fun. It's fun to coach that. They're fun to coach. They want to be coached. They're talking to each other the way they communicate and demand. It is a good, solid group. It's a very healthy balance.
Coach,
sorry, go ahead, Rico.
I was saying, Coach, it was a little chippy down there. A lot of talking back and forth between the net. You were able to keep your composure. We were noticing that. We were talking about that earlier. You were, a calming presence. I saw you a couple of times walking out, and you're just telling the girls, like, hey, guys, keep it together. We've got this. How was, I'm all the way up here. What was it like, the intensity, the chippiness down there?
Well, okay, so it's fun when they know each other.
Yeah.
And it's fun when they have known each other for so long that it goes deeper than just this.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also what makes it so competitive. The challenges were taking forever, and I think that was getting everyone like even more worked up. And so it was just a constant let it go. No matter what happens at this point, we have to earn the next point. You're talking about the next play because when you're competing and you're frustrated, but we had to learn, and that started in the second set. Like at that point, I've never talked to refs that much, but I was even like, what is happening? It was funny. It was fun. We had a good time with it. Renee, what were you going to ask?
Yeah, I was going to ask. So I've been waiting for Kendall to kind of step up as like that defensive leader in the back row. Do you feel like what kind of leadership does she provide back there? And did you see her taking her game to a different level in this match?
Yeah, I think there were moments, and again, I go back to just the way they communicate, and they're intense and they're all competitive. And she is one of the ones that can like give it to you straight. And I think that's what's so good. But she also, there were moments when I had to be like, just give it to me. I mean, because when they're out there competing and they're all giving each other feedback on what to do and where to be, it can get intense. But you need that. That's why I say it's healthy. It is healthy because in those moments, at least you're communicating. Mm-hmm. Like no matter what's happening, at least there is like interaction. You're communicating because you got to be like ready to go in the next point, and you have to like get over that. So I think she, I don't know how to, it's not even like stepped up her game or took it to the next level. I think it's even her ability to listen and to manage that part of the game in those moments was growth. Like that for the team. Christina got here, like 4 days ago?
Yeah.
She's been in the gym with us for like 2, maybe, and now on the strip. And talk about a mature, like direct communicator. I mean, she's like, yeah, I've never played with, I can't feel them. I'm talking to her about blocking, and it's just raw, and she just talks to him. I mean, she knows what it takes. So she's just having conversations like mid rallies and like mid sets to like figure things out. But I mean, that's how you do it. You have to. And I always say the way you play volleyball is how you're having a conversation. It's how you get to know someone and how they're going to play. So you got to be aggressive all the time because that's part of your personality. And so I think Kendall, that's kind of how she is. Christina, as a middle blocker, that's how she is. She's a presence, but she wants feedback.
Right.
She wants to know what she's doing. Like at some points, I'm like, do you feel like you're being too aggressive because you can't feel them? I think that's why you're in the net. And I'm like, and she's like, so don't put it. I'm like, yeah, they're calling you in the net because I think your body is in the net. Because she's like, I'm not touching it. And I'm like, I think it's your body. So it's just things like that. It's like you just have to be vulnerable enough. I don't even know how to describe it. You just have to be able to be in those moments and like be able to have those conversations.
Jess Shaven-Landsman in that third set. What was she, Renee? You said 7 for 14?
She went off. Absolutely went. I'm like, give her the ball every time. Like she had terminated like 50%. Yeah, she had 7 kills on like 14 swings. And it wasn't like from the same spot. Like it was from everywhere on the floor.
Yeah.
Right. I have so many things. Can we just reflect back to mid-set, though, when we were in row 1 and all of our attackers were in left front, including Christina at one point, and everyone's like, Jess! I even started yelling her name because I'm like, what does she think is happening? And so at that point, I was like, okay, I don't know what's happening in her brain. And then she just like settled in because I think that got her rattled, and there were things that were happening, and we even as a staff were talking about like how to like lock her back in. But then by the end of that set, she like came into that, and then she went in fuego, then out of the back row. It was like the left front and the back row. And I was like,
she was like going off. I was like,
I was like, welcome back. Welcome back.
Well, I told Rico, you have a lot of matches coming up. You have travel. I think they all need an ice bath tonight. Like they need their legs. Like I think the key to your next, well, let me see. You got Vegas Thursday, Orlando Sunday at home, and then you're in Columbus next
On
Wednesday. So you've got 3 matches in 9 days.
Yeah, it's going to be recovery.
10 days.
Yep, it's going to be recovery and execution. Just focusing on our scout, getting some touches, but really we have to be fresh, but we also have depth. And we've talked about that. They say 17 strong all the time, and it's true. I mean, I think we're going to have to tap into some of that when we can. And I know everyone's going to be ready. We've seen that. People have come in, and Paige coming in and serving tonight did her job.
She like ace. I was like, yes, that a kid. But I think her playing in the last match gave her that confidence, that experience that she belongs there. Right. I think that's part of like, you know, that the big moment when you're in it and you can go through a match or sub in, you know, when Brooke goes down hurt and be a big game player. I think that's when you really know you belong. And so now her confidence going forward, when you need her to serve or when you need her to go in and relieve someone for leg reasons or whatever, like she's going to go in and be a rock star because of that experience. And now she knows that like, hey, like I'm exactly where I should be.
Yep. Yes, for sure. And honestly, I want that for everybody. Yeah. I would love as a coach to get everyone that opportunity to show, because they do. The way that we have the competition set up and the way that we train, they know that, and it's a different situation when you get put in this environment. But I hope that everyone, and I know everyone, will get that opportunity, and that's when it really goes. I'm so proud of Danielle Hart and the way she started the match, and then Tori came right in. That is a true team.
Yep.
But their responses.
Yep.
Same with Sydney Hilly, like having that conversation and talking to her, and you know, going with Nazi with the start, but you got to be ready. You got to be ready. It takes mature, solid teammates, because the way they teammate on the bench and the way they still interact and talk to each other, that is like one of my favorite things that people don't see, but that makes coaching so much more fun. So much more fun. And it is unheard of.
Right, but let's go back. But some of it, Bird, was like you didn't just make changes. You're like, I had conversations with all these people. And like, we know as head coaches, difficult conversations, no matter how right they are, how much you believe in them, they're still hard because you can't make everybody happy. Right. Nope. So for you to take the time to have those conversations with those kids, to let them know that they're still important, those professionals, they're not kids, but
it's the buy-in, because we all know it's going to be a long season, and it's tough to have the conversations, and it's hard for them to believe it or understand it, but we're going to live it. And the only thing you can do is be all in. And that's what I've said since day one. We're in it together. I'm going to be very direct and clear, but my only request is like, just stay bought in, just believe in it and stay bought in.
Yeah. Well, I think having those conversations in general, like it shows the kids that they're not just a person on the team. Like you care about them and you want them to be valued. And I think that that's huge. And I think that they played hard for each other and for the coaches and for each other because of that like culture part of it, which I thought was pretty cool.
Which will continue to grow. And there's going to be tough moments. I mean, there's going to be road matches that maybe don't go our way, and you got to believe. We have to believe as a staff. They have to believe as teammates. But it starts in the gym. You know that. It starts in the gym. If you're training that way and you're pushing each other that way in the gym, it won't matter what happens night to night out here, because you know and you believe in it, because it's what you do every day.
Agree.
Coach, you've had a heck of a 2 days. You get your Chiefs victory yesterday.
Super Bowl champs.
And you get your first win as the head coach of the Omaha Supernovas.
I forgot about the Chiefs there for a second. Thank you for that reminder.
No, I got you. You had
I woke up today, I was like,
great 2 days.
That was a great win. That was like a solid, like, oh my gosh, they won it. The guy saying he blacked out when he caught that touchdown.
Same.
Yes, that was amazing.
Just an exciting night, an exciting 2 nights here in Grand Rapids for the Omaha Supernovas. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the support. It's so fun to have. It's safety in numbers. We're on the road, but look, we've got our crew with us.
Good work,
Renee will
Bird.
be joining us.
Yeah, you'll join us in Vegas.
I hope I don't jinx it. I told Rico he might have to do color the rest of the season because that was a huge win. I don't want to screw it up. I might need to stay in.
I told you I wasn't going to do it, and then I hopped on the mic.
I know. I was like, wait a second. He's on the mic?
I'm sorry.
Okay. I like it. I like it.
It was
masterful.
Terrifying.
It was
Masterful.
awesome.
I did.
Masterful. Okay.
I've been listening to her for the last 3 years.
That's good. That's good.
So
I think I used a new word. I think I made up a word. Unscarable. That's probably a real word.
That's a word.
But something happened down there. And then Betty did miss her serve. And I'm like, all right, well, she is scareable.
Just slightly. Again, Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. This was awesome. I'm glad you guys were here to experience it with us.
That's going to do it for the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show here on the Supernovas Radio Network 93.7 The Ticket. From Grand Rapids, I am Rico. That is Renee. That is Coach Laura Bird-Coon. Adios.